Happy Monday, guys. Welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. We've got sides, we've got totals, we've got props, we've got best bets for you in the NHL betting board for Monday night. Of course, I'm Andrew. I've got the Prez and Carmine with me to break down a handful of games here today. Carm, good morning. Happy Monday. What games are we talking about today, brother?
Hello, Andrew. Good morning to you, sir. We are going to talk, it's not a lot of games tonight, but we're going to talk about 4 of them. Prez is going to be on shortly, talk about Tampa Bay and Toronto, a team that he very rarely breaks down, but we'll have him on the show talking about it. He's been pretty good in breaking down Leaf games, so listen to what he says on that one. The Sabres and the Calgary Flames, LA Kings, Utah, and then Detroit and Vancouver will cap it off for us, Andrew. Same game parlay, hopefully, and then a pod play. Pod play continues to win. The 6 and 60 went 2-2-2 or 3-2-1, depending on whether you got 5.5 in the Vancouver game against Wallstead and Minnesota. That game landed on 6. I got 5.5. So in my mind, I went 3-2-1. And Andrew, almost a perfect day for me. And this is the part that sucks. I win 2 4% plays, one in NHL with Anaheim, a horrible scheduling spot for Chicago, and Anaheim wins it 7-1. And then the over in the Bills game, people messaging me, Carm, you still like, because it was the customer appreciation day, you still like that? I go, the snow does not matter. The Bills have no defense. Cincinnati has no defense. They're going to score at least 60 in that game, and I think they scored 70. So it did not matter to me. I was at a baptism, Andrew, in a Portuguese church. I'm sitting at the back as an Italian, and I'm streaming the game on my phone at church. It is what you do. The Holy One up there.
That's a sin.
He probably found out and then mushed my play. 5% loser on the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, see you later. You're not making the playoffs. You guys are dead to me, Kansas City Chiefs. You're dead to me. But with that
my day was the opposite, Carm. My day was the absolute opposite. I was sweating out picks on End Zone Live with Prez and company, and I went, I think, 0-4 on the afternoon slate with my props, but I didn't have any best bets on the slate. I had a 4% Sunday Night Football, Mahomes over on rushing yards, and I hit that. So it's like, if I'm going to go 1-4, I at least wanted the one to be the bigger one. But I'm still not happy because I was so that's such a great prop run. I'm still on a great prop run, but part of me was like, dude, you probably shouldn't have put out that many plays. But at the very least, I'm happy the big one hit. 8-2 best bet run with the props, but it kind of sucks when you don't really know how to feel. Yeah. Like I went 1-4, but I'm like, at least the big one hit.
And that's the thing is, I have a winning day overall for anyone who has like the all access or whatever, but you lose, like you win 2-4%, you lose a 5, and you should be happy because you had a profitable day, but you know that people only buy like the 5s sometimes. And that's the part that sucks. And just before we bring in Prez, at the baptism, which was for my niece's kid, we have dinner afterwards on Yonge Street in Toronto at a place called Stock. And Andrew, it was the weirdest thing for me, but it's because it does happen. But towards the end of the night or the evening or whatever, the dinner, one of the wait staff or whatever, the waiters or bartenders comes over to me. He goes, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, what's up?" He goes, "Are you Carmine Bianco?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." He goes, "Oh my God, I love WagerTalk." He goes, "I watch WagerTalk. I watch PuckTime." He goes, "You've taught me to stay away from parlays and to play straight game wagers." And he goes, "I'm making money betting straight, just straight plays." And that actually made me feel good in the sense of not being recognized or what have you, but that someone veers away from parlays and is straight betting games and now making money and realizes that is how you build your bankroll. And with that said, let's bring in another straight guy, the Prez, who hosted a poker cash game on Friday where he graciously took most of my money and smiled while doing it. Prez?
Good morning, Prez.
How are you, boys? So I hear we're complaining a bit about our losses. So I went 5-2 in NFL yesterday for my clients. And that 5-2, I'm supposed to celebrate, except I lost a money line parlay with Tampa Bay, and I lost the under in the Denver game by 0.5 point on probably the worst beat, I would say, ever. I have zero recollection of a worse beat than anybody who was sitting on Denver and the under in that game. That is as bad as it gets.
That's tough. That is tough.
Yeah. But it does show that Pete Carroll knows the line and cares about his fan base, because
well, I'm going to play devil's advocate though. What
didn't Sean McVay do that last year, where I think it was last season, where he kicks a field goal or something like that and says, so it lands on like 7 or something like that, and the line was 7 or 7.5, and he's like, it's about points, or so. His comment at the end was why he went for a field goal, and he talked about it's about points.
Points?
Yeah,
for the Raiders, is it their first top 3 draft picks are based on points?
I find
but I'm talking about a similar situation last year.
Yeah. Put yourself in someone's shoes that doesn't know betting. Like anyone that doesn't follow betting, what would they be thinking on that? Oh, he just wanted to score 3 points, I guess, or end the game.
No reason whatsoever. Instead of giving Kenny Pickett, who's been sitting on the bench, a chance to have one glorious moment.
Right, like a Hail Mary or something like that. Yeah, definitely. All right, Prez. Well, you know what? It is prime Monday Night Hockey in Canada. It is a regular Monday in America. But
so where did we last leave all of your listeners? We last left all of your listeners with me on Friday, telling you guys that I had the play of plays, the run of runs, the streak of streaks, the bet of bets. I announced into the camera my record. I told you guys there was no play stronger. I implored, begged, and pleaded with you to buy it. You did. You came through for me, and I paid you back with an easy dub. I also last left the show screaming in the mic on my way out the door to bet the Toronto and Montreal game under. Thank you for that too, Prez. And I am here to say again, we are sticking to the plan. We are betting the Leaf game under. I understand that the Hillaby might be in net for the Leafs, or maybe even some guy that nobody knows. I don't care. The plan is to bet the Leafs under. You can get a 6.5 out there at a few books. Tampa Bay is a team that I'm looking to bet under all the time. They just lost 2-0 to the New York Islanders. This is a team that's held their opponents to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. 7 games in their last 10. They've held their opponents to 2 or less. This is, I'm not overthinking this here. And just to let you guys all know, this is a client play. Yes, that's what I do. It's the under in the Toronto-Tampa Bay game. And I do lean on the Leafs slightly. Just slightly, but I don't like the spot for Tampa Bay to play against Tampa Bay. They've lost 3 games in a row, so I am concerned.
And I'll make you feel good. It's not a backup goalie. I got a message from someone who's at the morning skate.
How's it not a backup goalie?
And Hildeby is starting tonight. He was in
the
crease at I think so. He should be confirmed in the next half hour or so as the starting goalie for tonight.
Just for the record, everybody out there, and because I know Carm is a Buffalo Sabres fan and not a Leaf fan, the goaltender tonight for the Leafs is a backup goalie. He's actually the 3rd goalie. So he would be defined as a backup to the backup.
But you said we might see a 4th string goalie. And we're not.
Yeah.
We're only going to see a 3rd stringer, but he's 6'7", and he's looking
it's
much
what Toronto
better.
deals with, Andrew. Their goalies are made out of tissue paper. A lot of the times wet.
Yes.
They just keep getting injured. And it is a tough spot. But Prez, I get it. They're playing well defensively, going into Carolina and pretty much shutting down the Canes, going into Florida, beating Florida. Game against Montreal, I thought was a bad spot for the Leafs. I talked about it on Friday.
You did.
and Montreal got the victory. That's why Andrew is smiling this morning. He just loves it when the Canadians can beat up on the Leafs.
Yep.
Prez, before you promote, man, why did you take my money on Friday?
I tried not to, Carm. I made
no. You bet the river $140 on the river. He's like, Carm, and he sold it. He sold it so well. This is why Prez is a good poker player. He sold it so well that he had to take money from a guy who's eating ramen soup 7 days a week so he could have another wagyu, whatever steak. Anyways,
Carm, there's a reason I eat wagyu and you eat ramen noodles. Anyway, thanks for having me on, everybody.
What do you have to promote?
So I got a big play in the NFL game tonight, which I love. It's my second strongest play of the entire NFL card, and I've had a monster week in the NFL. I won Sunday, I won Monday. On Thursday, I'm killing it in the NFL. So I got a 4% bet up tonight in the NFL. Some of the handicappers have 4% plays every night, which is totally reasonable. I've had 54% plays in the entire calendar year. 90% of my plays are 2 and 3% plays. So when I do have a 4 or 5% bet, it's a must bet play. And I won my 5% already this week in NFL. I got a 4% play up for my clients. I got 1 NBA, 1 college hoops, and 2 hockey bets. You can get them all over at WagerTalk.com. Lots of love, everybody. Thanks for having me, guys.
Later, Presidente.
Take care, brother. Oh, nobody.
Andrew,
did you see that, Carm? There's just nobody on the screen.
There's like no one on the screen. Andrew, we're going to talk about, obviously we're going to talk about the Sabres and the Flames up next. I don't get it. The Sabres on the road continue to get money. And I don't understand why. Is a team that has 2 road wins or 3 road wins on the season? We saw it against Philadelphia. I like the total in that one more than I did the Sabres, but they took money. This was minus 120 originally for Calgary, and now it's down to 110 both ways. And the Flames are playing well at home. Really respectable. They're accumulating wins. They have any of their losses have been I think 1-goal losses. This is a team that's playing extremely well, and it's 110 and 6. And for TJ Salvador, who's going to probably pop into our live chat, it should be Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen in goal tonight. There, I pronounced it once again for you, but it doesn't mean I want you to play the Sabres because I pronounced his name correctly. Andrew, how are you going to play this game?
Well, Carm, you're kind of setting me up, making me feel weird if I take Buffalo here with everything you said there.
No,
but
you do what you want to do. I have no idea how to play this game, which is why I'm going to you first.
All right. I kind of like the Buffalo side here. And honestly, a lot of the reason is kind of just looking at, I hate to say it, but looking at some of the Flames wins and kind of how they've been winning, lately, I'm not really buying what they're selling to me. Even that win over the Mammoth, it was a pretty good spot for them. They played some good defense. That number against the Wild was very, very fishy. And it was almost as fishy as the number is today against Buffalo. Now, when you look at Buffalo, the one thing that you can trust is their offense. And somebody actually sent me a message on Twitter yesterday, or it was tweeted at me and said, when you have 2 teams going against each other, one team is an over team and one team's an under team, how do you approach that? How do you find out if you like the over or the under in that game? And Carm, my answer was, you pick the better team. And I know it might be hard right now to figure out which team is better between these 2 teams, but I still think because of the offensive, ability and different weapons and the power play that Buffalo brings, they're going to bring a different level, I think, to this game than the Calgary Flames can. And I think when you look at this Sabres team, I know that they've been on and off overall, but I still trust them to score some goals. Now, they haven't played since Friday, and I kind of like that, especially since they're coming off a 4-1 loss. They will not be happy. And the funny thing is they beat the Jets 5-1. And then on Friday, and I think we talked about this on the show on Friday. I wasn't on with you on Friday, so I haven't seen you in a couple days. It was a very, very simple rapid revenge spot because they had lost to Winnipeg or they had beat Winnipeg just a few days before that. So I think you get a couple days to be upset about it. You kind of get to sit and stew, and then you get out and keep that road trip going. Let's not act like the fact that this is a road trip and a road game, it's that difficult for them because they haven't played since Friday. So it's a couple days off for them. And I think this is kind of where this Calgary Flames team gets a little bit humbled. I'm acting like they're on a big streak here, Carm, but they've only won 2 games in a row, the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, well.
But this number kind of tells us, I feel like with the Flames, the books have kind of dictated. If you read the market the way we should be, we've kind of been able to just read how the books feel about these games. We saw that game for the Flames against the Wild. The Wild were minus 125. That told me it was a Wild Flames spot. Now with this one, like, Carm, are they implying that right now tonight on a neutral site, we're getting, minus 120, 125 here for the Sabres? What do you think? Because based on this number, I'm willing to take Buffalo out of Pick'em.
Andrew, I wish I could. I wish I could
they're
back
the play,
you up.
man.
It's such a weird game for me. Like, you look at Calgary, and I get it. Listen, these are two teams at the end of the season, much like I said at the beginning, and people were saying that this is the year the Sabres make the playoffs. No, it's not the year the Sabres make the playoffs. And I said it right from the get-go. But people were predicting the Sabres make the playoffs. I just did not see it. These are two teams that are not going to make the playoffs this season. But when you look at sort of the home and away splits, it is one where the line becomes fishy because the Sabres don't win on the road. They haven't done so. Doesn't mean they can't do it tonight. But then you look at the Calgary Flames, and look at their last 10 games. They've gone 6-2-2. The two of the losses were to Winnipeg by a goal, one in OT and one at 2-1. Another OT loss as well too. And then the only bad game that you can say they played was a 4-0 loss to the Chicago Blackhawks. That is the only multi-goal game that they've lost at home in that. So, the price, unfortunately, Andrew, at minus 110 both ways makes it that the money line, the puck line, even if you want to take Calgary plus 1.5, you're paying about $1.60 or $1.70. It's just not worth it as well too. Yeah. It is a weird one. If anything, I would probably lean to the under here in this one, with two good goalies. The last game that they played in Buffalo, Calgary beat them. This is one spot where outside of the conference, like a non-conference game, I don't look at that, as they call it, the rapid revenge factor coming into this one. Andrew, it's just Sabres lost 6-2 to Calgary, and they're going to start this road trip and play in Calgary and see how they do. I'm going to lean the under here. If it gets to 7, by all means, it's not making my card, guys. I can tell you that much. There's better games on the card to bet than one in which you're struggling to find the right side. When you're struggling to find the right side, normally you end up making the wrong decision.
For sure. 100%. 100%. That's how I feel about some of these games where you just kind of look back and you're like, I'll just stay away. Carm, I wanted to mention, this is the front half. I apologize if you already mentioned this, but front half of back-to-back for Buffalo. So I feel like on these Monday slates, Wednesday slates, and Friday slates, it's important to look for the front. Which teams are playing again tomorrow, right? Or, on Saturdays, which team played on Friday? Because I think it's that much more important. Like, if you're Buffalo, right? Sometimes we use the expression scheduled loss. Like if a team is playing their third game in 4 nights, or they've had a busy schedule, or, they have these two. I remember when the Montreal Canadiens had a 3-game road trip. They played against Utah, Vegas, and then Colorado. Carm, which one do you think was the scheduled loss? Colorado, right? And they got their asses kicked on the Saturday against Colorado. So if you're the Buffalo Sabres going into this 2-game set, which game do you think is more winnable, against Calgary or against Edmonton, right?
You would obviously think the Calgary game is is the winnable one, but honestly, it would not surprise me. And you're absolutely right with that, Andrew. It would not surprise me if they go 0-2, because you look at what they've done so far, and that's all we have is the data that is presented to us at times. And the Sabres have 2 road wins, and both of them came in OT. And one of them came against Detroit, in Detroit, where the Red Wings fell apart in that game. And then the other one came in a horrible scheduling spot for Minnesota, where I actually took the Sabres with only one road win in Minnesota at like plus 130-ish, because Minnesota just came off a game in which it was like they won the Stanley Cup. They beat they beat the Colorado Avalanche, who were just flying at the time, and they beat them in OT or a shootout. I'm not sure which one it was again. And those are the only wins by the Sabres. They haven't beaten a team in regulation on the road this season. And if your handicapping involves the do factor or the must win, then you're not handicapping the game. You have to have more data and definitive numbers that are in your favor in order to take a game like this. Any other team other than Calgary that the Sabres are playing tonight, given their record and their road record, the Sabres are not a prohibitive underdog, but they're at least minus 145, minus 150. What do you think the Edmonton Oilers are going to be in the second half of the back-to-back?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Sabres.
Let's make money on both games. Like, I think that I like the Sabres tonight, as I mentioned, and I think that if I like the Sabres and if the Sabres win tonight, it helps my case even more for taking the Oilers tomorrow. We talk a lot about fading teams second half of back-to-back off wins. Like, it's almost been more profitable these days to take a team, fade them after they've won a game than even off a loss. So, I mean, look at what Edmonton did over the weekend. Like, everyone's saying, the Oilers are back. The Oilers are back. This team looks like they're back here, Carm. And then now what? They're going to get the Buffalo Sabres second half of a back-to-back. I mean, that's a pretty good spot if you're the Edmonton Oilers, and all of a sudden they start piling up those wins. So this is why I love talking about these games, Carm, because everybody wants to talk about the Torontos and the Tampa Bays, but I think this game is super interesting. So, guys, let us know in the comments after the show what you think. Sabres, Flames, what do you think about the line? Like, Carm, for me, the pick-em price tells me all I have to know. I know Calgary's not a wagon, but I'm gonna take that. Maybe it's not a fishy line, but I do think that, like, what is this number if it's in Buffalo tonight? That's what I want to know. I want to have an odds maker in front of me to tell me what this number is if it's in Buffalo tonight. Because if this is a pick 'em right now, front half of the back-to-back, I think this is a really important game for Buffalo. We'll see.
If this was in Buffalo, and I think I can't go back to look at that game, but the game that was in Buffalo, I'm pretty sure the Sabres, not a prohibitive favorite, but they were about 150-ish, 160-ish at the very least in that game. And to the guy who asked, is the must win or their due the same as regression? It's not, because you can find regression based on analytic numbers in which a team, much like I said at the beginning of the season with the Rangers, creating goal scoring chances but not scoring goals. Eventually, once they start to go in, if those numbers remain consistent, they're going to start to win games, and they did. Conversely, if a team's high danger chances, if a team's expected goals are decreasing, that's a team, but they're still winning games. That's a team that, and they weren't expected to win games, kind of like the Boston Bruins, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Those are teams that regression is going to set in. So regression, I don't think ever sets in for good teams, Andrew. Like, the Colorado Avalanche playing phenomenal, but they're going to lose 2, 3, maybe even 4 games in a row at one point. That to me is not regression. It is just a good team that isn't getting the results. Completely different. Yeah. You have to look at the numbers and analytics and watch a team's, even their XG. If you're not into doing data mining and looking at analytics, then you're going to rely on clicking on the standings and saying, okay, this team's won 7 of 10. I'm going to take them because they're playing a team that's 2-8.
It's like what Yanni the Greek says in the summer card, right? With the baseball, the bad teams in baseball are going to win how many games? 40 games, 50 games. How many games did how many games did the Miami Marlins win this season in the MLB? It tells you all you have to know, right? The Colorado Avalanche are a great team. They're not going to win every single night out there. So
it is Andrew, and you're right. The sort of like the correlation or using like baseball. Think of a team, and this is a perfect example, is think of a team in baseball in a 162 game schedule where their win total is 81. That is telling you that this team is going to play 50-50. The books are figuring they're not going to win more than 81 games. Pretty much that's the number that they put it at. And now you're relying on trying to pick winners and times to take this team and times to fade this team. It is extremely tough. And I'm just using that as a small example. You don't want to look at win totals and try and come up with why you should play on or against a team. But in baseball, if a team is winning games and there's, I won't call it luck, but they're outplaying their numbers, at some point that regression will hit and they're bet against teams.
For sure.
But with that said, Andrew, are any of these teams bet against teams? The LA Kings, Utah, I wanted to call them the Utah Jazz for a second. We're all over the place. The Mammoth, the Utah Mammoth, minus 119. Minus 102. Man, I was a huge Karl Malone and John Stockton fan for the Utah Jazz back in the day. The Mailman, minus 119, minus 102 on the Kings. 5.5 the total. How are you playing this one?
Yeah, this is kind of the first game back after the road trip kind of angle here, Carm. But the funny thing is about this angle is that it kind of presents two different things for us. It's the first game back after a road trip angle, but it's also the one team is off a shutout angle. So it's kind of like two sides of the coin here. How do we approach it? One team was off a crappy effort. One team, hey, maybe they're going to be in a tough situational spot. Now, when it comes to the LA Kings, I had a mediocre weekend, Carm, but one of the bets that I made, actually, I had a parlay with the Hurricanes and the Kings. And I think it might be my first parlay that I've given out all season long so far. I'll tell you what, I wish I just took both teams on the puck line because they both easily won.
Yeah.
But I think this Kings team, I'm actually I will say I'm a bigger fan of this team offense and their ability than a lot of people seem to. I feel like a lot of people have given up on this LA Kings team. I like them. And one of the reasons why I like them is because of the depth on their roster. So I would potentially lean towards the Kings side in this one. But Carm, in 5 of their last 6 games, 4 or 5, we could say, they've gone under the total. A lot of that has to do with Darcy Kemper. A lot of that has to do with maybe some other guys like Phil Deneau and some other forwards struggling to score. But I think this is the perfect spot for an over. I love the first period overs when a team is off a game in which they were shut out. I love looking at the overs in general when a team is in their first game back after a road trip. And what do we always say? First game back after a road trip is different when it's a first game back after an unsuccessful road trip. And, the Mammoth, we don't know how they're feeling right now overall, but when it comes down to it, they lost 6-3 against the Sharks, won 7-0 against the Ducks, won 4-1 against the Canucks, lost 2-0 against the Flames. It was a tale of two different teams here, Carm. They looked unbelievable against 2 teams, and they looked not so great against 2 other teams. So I lean towards the over, first period over, but it's hard for me not to like the Kings. I feel like the Kings are one of those teams that could build momentum off, what do they get, a touchdown and the extra point? Just the touchdown against the Hawks. So I lean towards their side. How do you feel right now about the Mammoth overall? Like, are they a team that, like, a lot of people are starting to worry about them and think that maybe they got off to such a hot start, their shooting percentage was so high, and the regression started to settle in a little bit for this team. What do you think with this Mammoth team?
Andrew, they're and obviously no ill will towards them, but they're the repackaged Arizona Coyotes or whatever you want to call them. Obviously they added some players which kind of helps them, but off to a great start in a season in which, again, I didn't think they'd make the playoffs either. But you're missing, like, Andrew, quite possibly the most important betting tool and angle we have for this game tonight. And do you know what that is? If you go to, like, I follow the LA Kings, I follow all the teams on social media, but
Yes, I know
on
what you're gonna
Facebook.
say. I know
But
what you're gonna say.
on Facebook, there's a bunch of pictures of the LA Kings with their moms. Kopitar, Darcy Kemper, Dowdy. They're all pictures with their moms holding up the jerseys because it's the mom's trip. I remember, God bless him up there, Dave Koken. He used to love to try and find out when the mom's trip was because he'd be like, there's no way these players want to disappoint their mothers. And during the Christmas season. But I have this question for the LA Kings organization. It's the mom's trip. You take them to Florida or Tampa Bay, where the weather is beautiful. Like, you're going to Utah. Come on, man. Like, I don't know. Again, no ill will towards Utah, but I think the Kings first period, Andrew, for me, you're going to get them at pretty much even money in this spot. Come out, try and keep all the moms happy tonight. And I think it's a bad scheduling spot for Utah. And I talked to you guys about it as we entered this month. I said, watch out for December because there's going to be a ton of bad scheduling spots. Back-to-backs, 3 games in 4 nights, 4 games in 6 nights, 6 in 9 nights. As the NHL tries to cram in as many games as they can before the Olympics, if the Italians ever figure out how to make the right-sized arena.
Yeah.
But with that
Carm,
said,
you're taking some heat today here, brother. You're taking some heat.
Yeah.
Utah has some nice scenery. Hey,
I know.
Utah is awesome. It's a nice. You know what? I actually heard it is a pretty nice place, but
yeah,
maybe that's why
I've flown over it, so it's from above. It looks great.
Maybe that's why the moms go there and the dads go to Vegas or the dads go to California. The dads aren't going to Utah there, so we'll see. Lowe's kid, be careful there, man.
I'm gonna.
Come on, Carm.
He's putting. Oh my God, he's putting his 401k. We have a 401 here in Canada, but it is the Highway 401, which is kind of like the highway in LA. It's not really a highway because it's a parking lot, and you never move during traffic. But with that said, no, man, I've only flown over Utah. I've never actually stopped there, but I will. I will make a trip to Utah one of these days. So maybe the Leafs or Sabres in Utah, like a road trip, or when I'm in Vegas, Dan Alexander and I will meet up in Utah and we'll watch the games. Does Utah have a lacrosse team?
I think so.
I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carm, you and I got to go to some playoff games together. I feel like that could be cool to do. Like, that could be something that we could do together, film some content, go to some games. And the only thing that sucks is that we'd have to pick a spot to stay. Like, maybe if it was pick a spot that's, it's going to be a best 4 to 7 series. We think there's going to be at least 6 games. That way we get to go to at least 3 games in the series, and we just stay in one spot. We could film puck time together. I feel like we could do that.
Ooh, the salt flats. I like the sound of that. That's good for you. If you go through the salt mines, and they had one in when I was in Curacao, which Wayne Gretzky butchered the name of during the World Cup draw on Friday. He called Curacao Caraco, and he called North Macedonia North Macedonia. I'm like,
Macedonia,
Wayne popped a couple of Coors Lights before he came onto that stage. He must have popped. He must have downed a few Coors Lights before that, because he got a couple of those names wrong. But we're not meeting for the Buffalo Sabres making the playoffs anytime soon. I will be. I'll probably be betting hockey with Dave Koken up there before the Sabres make the Stanley Cup. So
I gotta ask Perlo, I love you. We've done shows. I gotta ask you, why don't you think the Sabres care about this game? You think they care more about losing to Edmonton tomorrow night? I'm genuinely wondering, because if they don't care about this game, then they're going to have a tough time, I think, against Connor McJesus tomorrow night, because it's going to be a little bit harder against him than it is going to be against Nazem Kadri and the Calgary Flames. I feel like if there's one winnable game here.
But the weird thing is,
the Devine show says the Sabres don't even care about their season.
They don't. They don't. It's a crazy thing. there. I feel sorry for guys like Tage Thompson, Rasmus Dahlin, the captain, and probably one of the best defensemen. Definitely top 5 defenseman, Andrew, I think, in the league. Obviously, Cale Makar being the number one there as far as that goes. But they're just it's a patchwork team. Every year they add like one piece. It's like trying to put a Band-Aid on a stab wound. It's just not going to work with the Buffalo Sabres. Ownership is more worried about the Buffalo Bills than they are about the Buffalo Sabres. But with that said, we need to move on. Detroit and Vancouver, Andrew. 125 on Detroit, plus 105 on 104 on Vancouver, 6.5. Is this one of those simple ones where I just say to myself, hey, self, the Vancouver overs keep coming in. Let's keep playing them. Lankinen should be in goal tonight for them. Minus 125 on Detroit. Do you take Detroit or do you lean to the total here?
Yeah, Carm, I think this might be my first team total of the day that I've brought up here, because I think that over 3.5 fits in that threshold that I really like. DK is showing plus 110. So this is my first team total bet of the show for the day here. Over 3.5 goals, plus 110 for the Red Wings. Carm, we saw a couple games in a row, actually, where the Vancouver Canucks went under the total. And trust me, I know one of them because it was Friday night, and I was not happy when Utah won, I think, 4-1 against Vancouver. We always say it takes 2 to tango, and Utah was tangoing by themselves because they didn't have a dance partner. So yes. I think Detroit here in this spot, I like the way their offense is moving, and overall, there's just too much going on right now with this Vancouver team. The distractions are starting to get to this team, and I just don't trust their defensive numbers. So Detroit over 3.5, I think, is a really good spot. And Carm, I just want to say, for all the hockey fans out there, not just the sports bettors, I am so fed up with the Quinn Hughes situation in Vancouver. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm tired of hearing about it. Like, this is starting to remind me of some LeBron James and his son going to the Lakers situation. If you guys want him to play with his brothers, just trade him to New Jersey and let's get on with it. I'm starting to get tired. If you want Quinn, Luke, and Jack to all play on the same team, and he's not going to get traded to anybody else besides the Devils, and they're gonna lose him in free agency either way, Carm, then just let him go to the Devils. I mean, this is starting to remind me of, what is this, a family documentary here? Like, okay, Quinn, you don't like being in Vancouver anymore. We're all talking about, like, then he says he doesn't care about what everyone's saying. It's like, yeah, dude, you don't really look that committed to all of us, though. You're monotone all the time. You always look sad. Let's move on with him. And I think, Carm, they need to trade him to get assets, because if they let him walk in free agency, they're going to be the biggest bozos in the NHL if they don't get anything for him. It'll be the Mitch Marner situation all over again. You know, what did the Leafs get for Mitch Marner? Cap space. That's all they got was cap space for him. I think Quinn Hughes has to go.
Andrew, it's such a heated debate. My thoughts on the whole Quinn Hughes thing is exactly the same as the Sabres' thoughts on their season. I don't care. Honestly, listen, these are overpaid athletes, okay, that complain because they want the right situation. And it goes back to the days of, one of Canada's own, Eric Lindros, getting drafted, and before the draft saying to one of the teams, don't draft me because I'm not going to play for you. Him and his dad, and they were adamant about it. So we put too much stock in what the players think. It's to just play the game that you're getting paid to play. These guys don't care about, I'm not going to say everyone, but some of these players do not care about winning the Stanley Cup. They care about collecting that bag of money and setting up their families for the rest of their lives. Yeah, sure. If you're a Canadian and to the point, maybe a US guy that grew up watching hockey and seeing some of your heroes lift that Stanley Cup, it's what you want to do. But at the end of the day, there are so many people that fail in winning the Stanley Cup and very few that actually get to lift it, that the more important thing is making money. And that's what it comes down to. So.
That's the business we're in, Carm. That's the business we are in. I like this one here from the Bean Show. Says, just because they're brothers doesn't mean they're going to automatically get chemistry and points on the ice. Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I
Doesn't
mean.
mean
Like there's been brothers before, Andrew, like the Stasny brothers back in Quebec, and then the Sundin.
Yeah, they're the best brothers, man. Those guys were
Yeah,
awesome.
you know what I mean. And they refused to get traded unless they were both traded to the same team.
Yeah.
Again,
Look at the
another
comments,
problem
though,
in
not bad.
Vancouver and stuff. So it is, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You look at it's the markets that they play for. You look at the Vegas Golden Knights and the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know what I mean? The whole Mitch Marner thing. He is overjoyed to be in Vegas right now. And the Leafs could be in first place and he would not care because he is not under the same media and fan scrutiny as he was in Toronto. The guy was putting up 100 points. And yeah, you want to hang not winning in the playoffs on one player.
Exactly.
Maybe hang it on your best player, who's supposed to be Austin Matthews and not Mitch Marner. But he's loving his time in Vegas. God bless him. He got his money.
He's happy there.
He's playing on a team. His family's happy. He's happy. It's all that you can ask for.
For sure. I like this comment here from Brewfesser here. He says, look at the goalies here last 5 games. Look, Lankinen has an .881 save percentage. Talbot has an .883 save percentage. 2 goalies that I would not want to take an under in. That's all I'm going to say. 2 goalies that I would not want to take an under in. That's for sure. So, Carm, overall, I know Brian has talked about how lately it's not as much about the goalies, about the team. But I think these days in the NHL, we've seen like the 1A, 1B become a lot more popular. Like when I was younger, the backup goalie didn't play nearly as much, right? And the backup goalies are playing a lot more now. So I feel like we can take advantage of that from a betting perspective, whether it's betting on the team because you get better odds or just fading the backup goalies because they're just much different. And I feel like that's the case in some of these games right now these days.
Yeah. It's Andrew, I'm telling you, December, unless you guys absolutely love a number overnight, do not play it unless you've gone through the goaltending rotation for teams to make sure that they're not on the first of a back-to-back or in the second of a back-to-back, and you're going to end up with the backup goalie. There's sites that will show you that. Make sure it's not a bad scheduling spot. There's going to be a lot of bad scheduling spots. Yesterday, I had one play in the NHL, Andrew, a 4% play on Anaheim in regulation. I knew that they were going to win in regulation, and I was certain they were going to win in regulation. I didn't know that was definitively going to happen, but I would have taken the puck line as well too. It was such a bad scheduling spot for Chicago, even though they spent 2 days in LA playing the Kings back to back. You knew that it wasn't going to be Spencer Knight in goal. He played the first 3 games of the road trip. You knew it was going to be Arvid Soderblom, and you can find that on different sites. And it just, and you had the Ducks coming off of a huge win for them, a bounce back win after losing 7-0 at home to Washington, or losing 7-0 at home to Utah to beat Washington in OT. And that was a team that was red hot. So they're back on rails. And I just thought it was a great spot, lay $1.30 or whatever it was. And it was a no-brainer. It was like 5-0 at the end of the second period. I didn't even have to watch the game. But with that said, Andrew, I need a no-brainer as far as like same game parlays go. Do you got one?
Carm, I've got 3 picks for you here. I'm just trying to bring up my same game. Carm, I'm having trouble loading it. I'm actually going to go to you first if you don't mind. I'm having trouble loading this.
All right. He's going to go to me. We are going to do the pod. And it's going to go back to the original game that the Prez broke down, which is Tampa Bay and Toronto. I really like Tampa Bay in this spot. I think they're favored. They should be favored in this game. And that is even with the fact that likely it's going to be Hildeby for Toronto. He's confirmed. Jonas Johansson could be the starter for Tampa. For me, it's difference between Johansson and Vasilevsky. While it might sound huge, it is how Tampa Bay is playing in front of their goalies that really matters. And it's a Tampa team, Andrew. Like when I look at this Tampa Bay team right now, it is a team that I think it is a great bounce back spot for them, playing against the Toronto Maple Leafs here. I think their last game, they drop a result. Let me just find it here. To the New York Islanders. You look at this team thus far. They lose 2-0 to the Islanders. They lose 4-3 to Pittsburgh at home, and they lost to the Islanders again 2-1. This is a team that is still playing well in front of their goalie, just not scoring some goals. But it's a team that whenever they play the Leafs, they find scoring. And this is one of the reasons why I like them in this spot. You're getting minus 115. It's steamed a little bit to minus 118. It's going to hover around there. It's not going to go that much higher, but this is the play I like today. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. Try and continue to win with these pod plays. Minus 115 in this one with Tampa Bay against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's see if we can continue to build that. We're up a decent amount, 64-47 on this pod play. So with that said, Andrew, go Lightning.
You've been cashing tickets. I like that one there, Carmen. You know what? They're getting healthier. I think that they should be fine. As long as Braden points out there for you, I think you should be good. I don't know what the deal is with the NHL injuries.
He's iffy right now. He's iffy right now. I didn't see any notes from the morning skate as of yet. And I did, while Prez was talking, I did message someone to see if he was on the ice for the morning skate, and didn't hear back. I just heard that Hildeby was going to be starting. Was the only text that I got back. So we shall see.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one here, Carm. I'm looking forward to watching that game. Although, because the Montreal Canadiens aren't playing tonight, I have committed to a Christmas movie with the girlfriend. I told her on nights that the Canadiens aren't playing, you can book me for some Christmas movies. That's the rule in the household. So one TV, Monday Night Football, one TV, Christmas movies, and one TV, Lightning and Leafs.
And now it's time for the same game parlay brought to you by the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah,
McInnis
exactly.
And the Hallmark Channel, where it's the same actors, and they just, it's like the dice thing. They just shake it up and roll it out, and it's some guy who comes back to his hometown at Christmas time and meets his sweetheart from high school or university, and she's got a failing business. He's got money, and they get back together again somehow.
You know what? I hope it's Elf from Lost Kid. One of them, Po Buddies Nerfix says Die Hard. I think tonight might be keeping it simple. Home Alone. I think Elf has to be closer to Christmas. Elf might have to be closer to Christmas. All right, I'm going to get Carmine out of here for a second, and I'm going to go to 3 player props that I like for tonight. These are good head-to-head matchups. Guys, this is not exactly a same-game parlay. I mean, you can same-game parlay 2 of these. Victor Hedman, anytime assist, plus 126, whether it's 5-on-5 or it's on the power play. Hedman has a very, very good track record against the Maple Leafs. And man, I just love this price of plus 126. Speaking of guys that have good head-to-head track records, over 2.5 shots on goal for William Nylander. Look, I don't care what anybody says right now about Austin Matthews. William Nylander is the guy on the Maple Leafs right now. He's the guy shooting all the big shots. He's the guy creating chances. He's the guy tying the game with dying minutes to go. He is the number 1 shooter on this team. Over 2.5 shots on goal in his career. He has had a ton of success against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, we have the Seattle Kraken and the Minnesota Wild. And here's the deal here. This Kraken team has minimal offensive production. They are constantly searching for production on the offensive end, but sometimes certain players just play well against certain teams. And whether it's a little bit of a sprinkle on a goal scoring prop or whether it's a shots on goal prop, Jared McCann over 2.5 shots on goal plus 105 against the Minnesota Wild. So 3 player props. These can all be singled, guys. We can put these in a 3-game set, but these can all be singled as well. Hedman assist, Nylander shots, and McCann shots on goal. And I will just lead off with this here, Carm, is that I do have a 4% best bet up in NFL for player props. My best bet player props are now 8-2. My last 10, we had Mahomes over on his rushing props last night. He went over by about 30, 35 yards. So unfortunately, it was not a great day overall in NFL yesterday. But the player props keep doing very, very well overall, especially the best bets. So don't miss that at WagerTalk, guys. and 2 plays I like in the NHL. So that's it for me, Carm. Looking forward to a really good night. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Let's stay hot.
Andrew, only one play for me tonight in the NHL, a 4% best bet. So let's see if we can get another 4% best bets. It's been a winning NHL season for me. I want to keep that run going. Andrew, I'm not sure if you saw this, and that's the only play. As far as the football game tonight, I have the Eagles in my circa. I was 3-0 going into that KC game last night with my 5 circa picks with KC left and the Philadelphia Eagles. KC disappointed, but I would love to go 4-1 and move closer to the money as the season winds down. But one play in the NHL, you can find that over. And then I'm going to at WagerTalk, wt.buzz/CB. I will have my customer appreciation plays up shortly. I have to make a quick run to the doctors, but after that, I will have those plays up. Andrew, I'm not sure if you saw the breaking news that is going on right now, but you might want to watch the news. There's been a shooting at the Nakatomi Towers. Hopefully everybody is okay there. I'm not sure if you saw that news coming across the wire, Andrew. I think the Montreal Canadiens have stayed there a few times when staying in LA. But to everyone else, have a great night tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. The Prez and Brian Leonard on tomorrow's show. Buster returns on Wednesday. This is Puck Time. Hit that like button on your way out and have a great betting day.